Good morning, dear friends. Here we are with another study of the book Right Path by the Spirit Emmanuel through the blessed mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. Here I am with you this morning, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to be with you. What a blessing. And today we're going to be talking about chapter 34 that is titled Scandals in Us. And let's see what Emmanuel has to share with us this morning. I'm going to read parts of the message to you, and we will return to the beginning and we'll discuss some of the aspects we have selected for our reflection and discussion. Chapter 34, Scandal in Us. Emmanuel says, calming ourselves in order to work and serve with safety will always be the most efficient process to free us from the influence of scandals, whatever they may be. Not infrequently, we linger over hurt feelings and condemnation against ourselves, which we usually leave desolate or depressed, increasing our own incapacity for any readjustment. We made mistakes, let's face it. To lament, however, indefinitely would be the same as to segregate ourselves in remorse. It is not only unproductive, but also destructive, because we would communicate the fire of our own restlessness to our loved ones. For someone to complain about him or herself 2-3 times as to the debts and defects that pave his or her is clearly understandable. However, to lament every day, accusing herself or himself under all circumstances, without any effort to improve the situation, can turn into a compulsive attitude, causing illnesses and disturbance. Sterility in any sector is invariably sterility. Let us remember the living and constant lesson of free will to call us to our own refinement. Let us use the loans of the hours that we are given, resources at hand, commanding the opportunities that time allows us to undertake the renovations that we need. We are eternal spirits. While it is our duty to take advantage of the experiences of the past and what they prove useful, and to prepare for the future for the fates to become more elevated, let us remember that we are called in the eras of the now to live one day at a time. Mistakes, we have committed many. Debts, we still have large ones. However, if we know how to employ the instruments at our disposal with discretion and balance, there is no time to waste with useless lamentations, since the more we want to learn and work, to understand and to serve, the higher and the more beautiful the party of the greater life will be. Isn't that a beautiful message for this morning? And he starts the message talking about the need for us to calm ourselves in order to work and to serve with safety, with security, to be the most efficient process for us to free ourselves of the influence of scandals. And he's talking about when we make something wrong and people talk about it, or in this case, the rest of the message is really about our feelings toward what we've done that may not have been as fortunate as it could have been in the past. So he's saying, not frequently we linger over hurt feelings and condemnations against our own selves, increasing our own incapacity for readjustment. So the question for us today is, are we lingering in hurt feelings and condemnations? If we are, how can we leave that state where we are focused on what went wrong and how we were hurt or how we hurt someone else in order for us not to be left desolate or depressed. He will say, we made mistakes, we erred, let's face it. You and I have lived many experiences, and as we know, during our experiences, even this one, we have made good choices and not so good choices, right? We all have debts. And he said to lament, however, indefinitely would be the same as to segregate ourselves in remorse. So he's saying, okay, you erred, own it, go make amendments so that we can work and serve to free us from the influence of these errors we have committed. Why? This is a very important topic. He said to lament would be to segregate ourselves in remorse. In remorse and lamentation, he says, this is Emmanuel's word, it is not only unproductive, but also destructive. So not only unproductive mean it doesn't allow you to do something that is productive and for the good of all, but also destructive for our own selves and to others, as he says, because we would communicate the fire of our own restlessness to our loved ones. So when we engage in lamentation, segregating ourselves in remorse, we become unproductive. And that's a no-no. Because we are here, as you're going to say later, with a duty to take advantage of the experience of the past and preparing for the future, but with the obligation that we are called to serve today. And we need to use the loan of the hours that we are given, resources at hand, to undertake the renovations that we came here to undergo. You have a reincarnatory plan. I have a reincarnatory plan. And if we engage in lamentation, we become not only unproductive, meaning we're wasting the time we're given on this earth, but also we are communicating, meaning emotional contagion. We're contaminating others because we communicate a fire of unrestlessness to our loved ones. So not only we engage in that self-pity party, but then now you're giving that restlessness to others, contaminating others, potentially making them unproductive. And these are his words. To lament would be to segregate ourselves in remorse. It's not only unproductive, but also destructive. So the recommendation is, he's saying, don't stay on that state of lamentation and remorse. He says it's important to accept our guilt. Yes, he said, we made mistakes. Let's face it, we own our mistakes and say, okay, I hurt you in the past. Today, how can I make amends? How can I love you more? How can I serve you? And I'm saying you as if you're talking to someone, but think about our debts to the places we lived in, the cities we incarnated in, to the people who we reincarnated with, to the countries, and to even to Mother Earth, the debts we have, because so much has been given to us throughout lifetimes, that now it's time for us to be mindful. And maybe this is the reincarnation where we are awakened to be able to do this in a more mindful way. He says, for someone to complain 2-3 times as to the debts and defects, it's clearly understandable. Yes, it's okay to do debriefing and say, okay, I made a mistake. I hurt that person. I said this or the other. It's okay for a certain amount of time. He said, however, to lament every day, accusing oneself under all circumstances without any effort to improve the situation can turn into a compulsive attitude, causing illnesses and disturbance. So when we engage in this pattern of lamenting, accusing ourselves, remembering the mistake, complaining, he says, to complain might be understandable a few times, but then to lament every day can cause illnesses and disturbances. So let's think about our past few years And how many times we've complained and lamented something and wish we had done something different, wish we hadn't said something or done something in a certain situation. That could have been, can turn into a compulsive attitude causing illnesses and disturbances. Let's evaluate the environment around us and the amount of time people spend on these lamentations and remorse and accusations, because the reverse is also true. Sometimes we think the guilt is always someone else's fault. Then now we are destructive and unproductive towards others. It can cause illnesses and disturbances. So we are multidimensional. You have your spirit, your perispirit, your body, your thoughts command the actions of the perispirit that commands the actions of your physical body. So if your thought pattern and you is of lamentation, remorse, complaining, eventually that can be manifested in your words and your attitudes and actions, and that will be a possibility to cause you to become ill and cause disturbances of all kinds. Because when we lament and we get remorse, we open ourselves to connect with spirits that are around us that are not as elevated, who want us to suffer. Or we enter a pattern where we are unable to hear the voice of the good spirits around us. And they're always there. They're always there, trying to remove us from this lamentation, complaining. So the truth is, we need to, he says, let's err. To accept our guilt is important. However, we shouldn't spend the precious minutes and hours that we have doing those. So the idea that came to mind when we were preparing this is that to have contentment or gratitude journal. So when we've recognized that we made something wrong, we did something inappropriate or wrong, said something, we immediately go try to make amends. Sometimes people don't allow us, don't want to engage with us. It's okay. You can still ask for forgiveness. You can still work it out during the sleep time. So then we can transform our actions. We can say, okay, I erred. I own it, but not engage in this lamentation cycle. Snap out of it, and then we can go into a gratitude journal, contentment journal, and we'll rewrite all that we have been given, and the debts we have incurred can be worked upon by calming ourselves and saying, I'm a child of God. I'm worthy of love. I can do this. I can make amends, so that we can spend more of our time doing what we came here to do. And why don't you want to spend time lamenting, complaining? Not only because it can cause you to become ill and have disturbances, but he's saying sterility in any sector is invariably sterility. When you're spending time lamenting, when I say you, I mean all of us. I'm talking to all of us. The incarnate beings that are listening to this, welcome. To the discarnate beings that are with you, welcome as well. We're all here on the earth together, learning. So when we're spending time with something, we're not co-creating in the good. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing in this lifetime to redress our own refinement and elevation. He says, let us remember the living in constant lesson of free will, calling us to our own refinement. Let us use the loans of the hours that we are given. The hours that we have in this lifetime are loans from who? From God. God, the supreme intelligence, creator of all things, allowed us with his grace or her grace to be here in the physical body. So let's use the loans of the hours that we are given. It's Emmanuel's words, resources at hand. Commending the opportunities that time allow us to undertake the renovations that we need. Ultimately, we are here to improve ourselves. And how do we do that? Through service and work to better the lives of everyone around us. He says here, we are eternal spirits. While it is our duty to take advantage of the experiences of the past in what they prove useful and to prepare for the future for the faith to become more elevated, we have to have look at the past to learn. It's useful. It's our duty to take advantage of those experiences and to prepare for the future for the faith to become, meaning we have to make a plan. What's your reincarnatory plan 1,000 years from now? Hopefully it is to be a kinder, nicer, more compassionate, elevated person. So we need to have a planning goals of self-improvement, but we don't focus on the past. We don't focus solely on what's coming tomorrow. He says, Emmanuel says, quote, let us remember that we are called in the heirs of the now, and he italicizes the now in the original, to live one day at a time. So when you woke up today and you did your prayer of gratitude to God for being allowed one more day, then you can go around your day thanking your hands that allow you to have breakfast and brush your teeth, the hands and feet that allow you to drive to work and perform your job duties or take care of your family members as if you're a caregiver. And as we go by the day, we're called for the heirs of now, one day at a time. Today is all you have, this moment. So we commit to do the best we can with the loans of the hours that God has allowed us. Yes, we learn from the past, meaning today I will be kinder. I won't send a mean thing to someone in traffic. I will commit to acknowledge those who come my way. I'll say good morning, good evening, thank you. I will be less selfish because I was more in the past. And then we make a plan. So each and every day we're called to the areas of now, one day at a time. Mistakes, we have committed many. Debts, we still have large ones. However, if we know how to employ the instruments of our disposal with discretion and balance, he's saying here, the instruments of our disposal, so you, your friend, have what you need to undergo the experiences on this lifetime. You have from divine providence the resource that you need. He says we need to know how to employ these instruments with discretion and balance. There is no time to waste with useless lamentations, since the more we want to learn and work, to understand and to serve, the higher and more beautiful the party on the greater beyond, the greater life will be. So when we work today, the more we learn, the more we work, the more we understand, the more we serve, the higher and more beautiful the party on the greater life. So what we're doing today, we're not on the earth on vacation. This is not for us to enjoy our lives. This is for us to work together for a better humanity. Because if we continue in this pattern of selfishness for me, mine, my family, my trips, my travel, my schedule, we can't sustain the plan of the beyond, which is one humanity. While I'm taking care of my physical needs, there's so much that you and I can do with the excesses that we have in our lives. Go back to the chapter that is Small Acts in Us. There, Emmanuel will talk about the small things that you and I can give up that will be for the better of the entire community. So let's work so that the party on the beyond is greater than our lives here. It's okay to be home. It's okay to miss and mourn the plans we had in the past. But life is calling us. There is so much suffering. Not only physical needs that you and I could help, that we could give up some things so others could have some, but only mental suffering, spiritual needs that we can fulfill by being together, learning and serving. So that we're here this morning, nourishing our souls at Kardec Radio. I hope that you have a wonderful morning. And if you have any questions, any comments, or any suggestions on how we can better use the loans of the hours and the days we are given by God, please write down in the comments. We always reply to you. and it's always an honor and a blessing to be with you. So I hope that I can see you again. God willing, I will be with you next week on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a blessed day. See you soon.